So I'll start a little bit in Hebrew for the audience and then talk to you guys. אז בשנים האחרונות אנחנו באמת רואים, בגלל הטכנולוגיה ובגלל הדיגיטציה, עלייה מאוד מאוד גדולה באפשרויות השימוש בחומרי ארכיון. ואנחנו לא מוגבלים רק בלהגיע לבלי לארכיון שלה ולצפות בפילמים על הסינבק, אלא באמת יכולים להגיע לארכיונים בכל העולם, והאפשרויות שלנו הרבה יותר רחבות. ולכן כשפנינה הציעה את הרעיון לעשות פאנל עם ארכיונים, חשבתי שזה באמת הזדמנות טובה לדבר על הנושא הזה ולהציג את האפשרויות, ובחרנו ככה כמה ארכיונים שאנחנו עובדים איתם בתדירות יחסית גבוהה מכל מיני סיבות, בין אם זה עלות, ובין אם זה היקף החומר שהם מציעים, ובין אם זה סוג החומר שהם מציעים, ואלה בעצם האנשים שאנחנו נדבר איתם היום. כאמור זה אירוע היברידי, מה שאומר שיש אנשים פה בקהל, יש אנשים בבית, וזה מאוד מאוד מבלבל, אז אני מקווה שאני אתמודד עם זה בכבוד. So the first archive I would like to introduce will be AP. James Cooney is a colleague I knew like for, I believe 5 or 6 years for now, and this is the first time I actually see him. AP is a huge archive that I'm working all the time with, and בעצם. Okay, so James is from AP is a London-based archive, and the second one is Sandrine Saccarer from INA, the Institut National de l'Audiovisuel from France. After Sandrine, we'll talk to Stephanie Strobel from Getty Images, which represent the BBC collection and the NBC collection, which is just a new archive over there. And the last one will be our own Billy Segal from Cannes. So James, you will be the first time. Let's hear a presentation, and then there will be time for Q&A from the audience here and from home. Okay, thank you. James, you're on mute. Okay.
Yeah. Can you hear me now? Hello?
Yes, we hear you.
Okay, perfect. Right, I'll start again. Hello to everyone in the Cinematheque in Tel Aviv and to those working like me remotely. I'm James Kearney and I work as an account manager for AP Archive, the archive department of the Associated Press. I'm based in London and I look after clients in Europe, Asia and the Middle East, licensing footage and stills. The Associated Press is the world's oldest news gathering organisation, having just celebrated its 175th anniversary. The AP Archive is made up of 1.7 million global news and entertainment stories dating back to 1895. The collection is sourced from AP coverage, acquired collections, and key broadcast partners and UGC suppliers from around the world. There are 4 AP-owned news archives as part of our collections. There is the Associated Press Television News, or APTN, which has been running as a news source since 1994. There is British Movie Tone, which ran between 1929 and 1979, but also includes acquired footage prior to these dates and special coverage afterwards, such as the 1981 British Royal Wedding. Our holdings also include UPI and UPITN, which runs from 1963 to 1985. The final collection is WTN, or World Television News, whose output covers the years 1985 to 1998. The British Movie Tone collection has great historical significance, given that it was the first cinema newsreel to feature sound. It is a truly global archive covering the world's events both in wartime and peace. The collection was mostly shot on 35mm film, which means that it's possible to rescan and to provide in the latest 4K file formats. The UPI-UPITN collection includes stories from 1963 until 1985 and captures the joys and upheavals of this period. The collection includes coverage of Muhammad Ali's rise to the top, the drawn-out campaign in Vietnam, and one of only 3 films in existence that captures the assassination of US President John F. Kennedy. The whole collection has been transferred to HD, and the aforementioned JFK film has been fully digitally restored. The combined AP and WTN collections covered the period 1985 until this present day. The collection includes unique video of the Cormoros plane crash from 1996 and award-winning coverage of the Beslan school siege that took place in Russia in 2004. We continue to share around 40 hours of published news stories a week that come in from 250 locations around the world. Along with our own coverage, we have a range of global news, broadcast and archive partners from Asia, Europe, Latin America, Russia and the US. We also have specialist partner collections covering entertainment, sport and technology stories. We've added to our traditional broadcast partners with a range of new user-generated content collections, or UGC for short. They cover the irreverent and the funny, but they also feature serious topics such as the immediate aftermath of terror attacks, accidents, and protests. Along with our footage collections, we have a sizable photographic collection. It includes nearly 18 million digitized images and well over 10 million offline images in our UK and US archives. Of the 54 Pulitzer Prizes won by the Associated Press, 32 of them have been attained for our photographs. I've thought about some of the films we've worked on that provide information about what we have and how you might use it. The first is a film from 2013 called Rush, about the close competition between Formula One drivers James Hunt and Niki Lauda. The film might be considered quite old now, but it was an early example of a feature film that includes actual race footage seamlessly mixed with dramatic reconstruction. British Movie Tone didn't just cover the news, they also covered major sporting events, and the 35mm film of the race was scanned to 2K, colour corrected, and matched to the newly shot footage featuring the actors. This use of archive has become a lot more prevalent in recent years, with files now scanned and delivered in 4K formats too. As a US-based news organisation, the Trump presidency was a big story during the last 4 years, and the 2 projects about this period are very interesting case studies of the type of footage both requested and used, but also regarding the overall value of archiving composing a film. 72 films worked on a series called The Trump Show, made up of 4 episodes covering all the key events of Trump's presidency. The production made great use of retelling the story with a mixture of professionally shot and UGC content, which helped to get to the center of events. We also worked on a series entitled Trump Takes on the World, produced by company Brook Lapping. What both these Trump projects show is how oblique cutaways and setup shots can be as important as key speeches or the moment a president signs a new law or shakes a hand. We provided cutaways of journalists' reactions in the White House and elsewhere, but we also provided shots of people waiting for cars to arrive at an event or helicopters waiting to pick up a passenger. Such footage, often referred to as B-roll or rushes, when added to key shots, can give a greater sense of being immersed in the story as it happens, almost like a retrospective fly-on-the-wall documentary. As mentioned at the beginning of this presentation, the AP turned 175 years old just over a week or so ago. This video presentation should give you a good idea of what we've been up to during that time. So Tel Aviv, if you could run VT, please.
Okay, James?
Hello.
Okay. You can continue, or would that be?
That's the presentation actually now.
Okay,
I'm ready for all the difficult questions you've got for me.
Can you cancel the share screen?
Yeah, it seems to be locked. It seems to be locked for some reason. Hang on.
Okay.
Okay, brilliant.
Can you tell me, do you have any idea what kind of footage you have that is unique for the Israeli filmmakers? What are we buying the most? What are we looking for the most?
Well, it's kind of interesting, I think, because I work with such a range of countries. I think that for Israel, there's an awful lot of projects being made for Israel about Israel. So it's trying to get to all the key moments of Israeli history, you know, whether it's sort of Camp David or you know, the sort of tensions around politics and that kind of thing. And I mean, I guess the thing is that it surprises me whenever we get a wish list how you know, the percentage of the stuff we often do have. So I guess, you know, we have lots of stuff for Israeli filmmakers to use.
We always need to remember that before 48, most of the footage is actually, you can find it in the British archive. So Movietone is a very
Movietone's an amazing resource for actually the movement of people to what was then the sort of Palestine territories or whatever, the mandated territories. So yeah, we've got that whole, I mean, I think from memory, I think the sort of the earliest clips I've sold are probably from the 20s of people getting on boats and that kind of thing. Yeah.
So the next presentation will be from Sandrine Sakarer from INA. And you will explain us about your very unique and huge archive.
Okay, so I'm going to share my slides. So hello to everybody. So I'm very pleased to be with you and to have the opportunity to present INA. So INA is a state-owned company based in Paris with three main goals: to collect, to preserve, and to share our TV and radio content with the professionals through our website inamediapro.com, but also with the general public via our public website, ina.fr, which contains more than 400,000 hours of content. So the French law states that INA holds the producer rights of all the programs 1 year after they first broadcast on the French public TV channels and the radio stations. So to date, we have more than 2 million hours of content online on many topics: news, sports, performances, history, environment, cinema, arts and culture. It's an ongoing source as we receive a new content from France Télévisions every day. Our TV collection starts mainly in the 40s. We also have a newsreels broadcast in cinemas from 1914, so called Les Actualités Françaises. And our radio collection starts in 1902 and includes programs produced and broadcast by the Radio France stations. So for several years now, we have enriched our audiovisual collection with content from many partners to make INA Media Pro a one-stop shop. And to date, we have nearly 50 distribution agreements with sports federations, the French Tennis Federation for the French Open, ACO for the 24 Hours of Le Mans, ASO for the Tour de France, also the French Football Federation. We also have agreements with the press agencies like AFP, Le Parisien, TV broadcasters, digital media, several French and foreign producers and foreign institutions like the Cambodian collection, the ICAIC, the Cuban newsreels, UNESCO, the Timor collection. So, etc. And so now let's watch a trailer with a short selection of INA content. So I think you're going to launch the video.
Sandrine, you can go on.
So the majority of our content is digitized and accessible online on Inamedia Pro, which is a free platform that allows you to carry out research, to screen or listen to the content online. You can also create and download screeners, save your selection in your folders or add it to your shopping cart. Your search folders can be shared with other Inamedia Pro users, and you can send your final selection to the sales team so that they can provide you with a quote. When receiving our clients' selection, a copyright check is done by our legal department to confirm if the rights are available or need to be cleared with a third party. Then the contract is drawn up and the high-res footage is delivered by FTP. With Inamedia Pro, we offer our clients the possibility to make their own clips from entire programs, so that way they are less likely to find the same clips in other productions. And when browsing Inamedia Pro, you can also discover on the homepage an editorial guide with a pre-selected content in line with the current news. You can also find a calendar of a one-year period to help our clients foresee their projects, and 10 themes covering more than 620 documented folders to facilitate the search. So in amidst the needs of professionals located all over the world for all markets, TV broadcast, video, advertising, cinemas, festivals, brand content, internet communication, and for all projects like long feature films, fictions, commercials, documentaries, news, magazines, publishings. And the main part of the projects we work on remain documentaries, music, sports, or historical documentaries to be broadcast on TV or to be released in cinemas or on platforms like Netflix or Amazon. Our clients are producers, broadcasters, digital media, video platforms, publishers, communication or ad agencies, museums, etc. So on this slide, you can see 3 examples of long feature films in our work on Billy, produced by a rep documentary and new black film in the UK, and Ina provided 4 minutes of performances. Then you have House of Cardin, produced by the Ebersolius company in the USA, and Ina provided 21 minutes of content. And Le Mans 66, featuring Matt Damon and Christian Bale, and produced by 20th Fox Century. Ina provided 30 seconds of the 1966 Le Mans race. Excuse me, so I have some problem with the sharing. So for the last 2 years, we've seen an increase in Israeli production companies contacting Ina in order to license some footage. So on this slide, you can see 3 examples of Israeli documentaries Ina worked on, like Lebanon, Borders of Blood, produced by Zygot Films, What If, produced by Lama Films, and Ofra, produced by Elil Media. Ina offers a wide range of high-quality musical programs to professionals for their projects involving CD and LP editions. It contributes to the creation of box sets with some rare audio treasures and historical recordings. Most of our clients are independent labels and major studios in the record industry, but they also are digital platforms and aggregators from all over the world looking for jazz, classical, or pop rock music. So on the slide from the left, you can see the LP cover of a Billy Harper quintet in Antibes in 1975, published by Saga Sam Records in France. The deluxe box set of Barney Whelan and the Blue Note, published by Elemental Music in Spain. The box set of CDs and DVDs of Ebziba Menuhin, published by Warner Classics, and the CD cover of a Dexter Gordon Quartet at Espace Cardin 77, published by Elemental Music too. So thank you very much for your attention, and you can contact us whenever you want if you have any questions. So thank you.
Thank you, Sandrine. So just to be sure that we all understand, INA is basically a platform that connects.
INA Media Pro is free, is our commercial platform. So it is a free service for the search, to get your screeners, to view online all our content. So everything is done from directly from our website.
Yeah, but there is an actual archive, or each network have her own archive?
No. We so every day we have a new content, because as I said before, we hold the producer rights of all the programs broadcast on France Télévisions. So 1 year after the first broadcast, we have the programs. So it is an ongoing source. So we have a new content every day to enrich our catalog.
So it's basically it's a national project that connects all the networks and all the public archives in one platform.
So INA Media Pro is it is our web tool to get to view, to select the archive, to view it, and to license it. So
okay. Thank you. I will speak to the audience in Hebrew for just 1 second. אז כמו שאמרתי, אם בארכיונים הבריטים זה בעצם מקור טוב למצוא בו חומרים שקשורים לישראל בתקופת המנדט, בארכיונים הצרפתיים יש חומרים שאין דרך אחרת כמעט להגיע אליהם, במיוחד בגלל שהם מייצגים גם, שוב, זה תמיד צריך להסתכל על מי ישב איפה ומי שלט איפה, והרבה מאוד חומרים מלבנון או מסודן או מכל מיני מקומות שאין לנו דרך אחרת להגיע אליהם אלא דרך אינה, מה שהופך אותו לארכיון מאוד מאוד שימושי וחשוב בשבילנו. So now we'll hear Stephanie Strobel will present Getty Images, which is a commercial archive, and will explain us what exactly you have to offer.
Apologies, I was still on mute there. Let me share my screen right away. There we go. I hope you can now see that first slide of the presentation. All right, yes, so thank you. So yes, thank you for having me. Thank you to everyone who is tuning in today. My name is Stephanie. I joined Getty Images in 2019 as a strategic business development manager. I am based in Munich and I work with a pan-European team of broadcast specialists. We are a team of 20 people, over 20 people working in sales and support. And we are dedicated exclusively to helping our clients in the broadcast and production industry across EMEA. So my role is to work creatively and collaboratively with producers to support individual projects, but also to build partnerships across the entire production lineups of our partners. And I am here today, as already announced, to give you an introduction to the Getty Images archive. Getty Images is the largest privately owned commercial archive and has a history of 26 years. Getty was founded in 1991 and now offers over 375 million assets, over 275 million of which are digitalized. We have 14 million clips online on our website, almost 6 million of which are available in 4K. Now, to offer this wealth of content, we work with channel partners, we work with news agencies, with video and image archive partners, and with numerous independent contributors. Of course, also we have our amazing team of photographers and videographers. To add some meaning to these numbers, I would now like to introduce you to some of our video collection partners. And to do so, I would like to take you on a small time travel. The Getty Images video archive really dates back to the beginning of video production itself at the end of the 19th century, of which videos you can see with collections like Archive Films and Greensburg Paramount. Turning to the 1930s and through to the early 1950s, we add great footage from the march of time. Then in the 1940s, BBC, as well as NBC News, started its TV program. In 1955, our partner ITV started its broadcast, and clips from then up to most recent news are available through the ITN collection. One of the more recent additions include Sky News, which started in 1989. Now, you can see our collections include a vast editorial archive, which ranges from news, entertainment, nature, ancient and more recent history, through science and technology, royal footage, to sports, where with sports we actually have really unique access through multiple partnerships, like, for example, with the Olympics, with several soccer clubs, with the Formula One, and many more. So the editorial archive really covers any topic you could think of with a really international scope. In addition, we have a creative archive, which includes nature and wildlife, location shoots, great drone footage, and much, much more, which can all be used to set the scene, making Getty really your one-stop shop. In addition, we also offer RF content, for which full releases and clearances are available. Now, all these images and clips can be found on our website. They're available for online screening, for online order, and for a convenient delivery via download. And if you have never worked with Getty before, let me just tell you, it's not rocket science. The website is super easy to navigate. It's really user-friendly. When I first joined the company, it actually reminded me a bit of a Google Images search in a way, but it does add many more filters, possibilities to work with pinboards, so you can create your selections and share them with your team. Really great possibilities there with regards to the online content. And in addition to that readily accessible content on our website, we also have 2 exclusive partnerships with 2 major offline archives. One being the BBC, and through the BBC, we can offer a global perspective to your stories. Getty Images is the trusted partner of the BBC Motion Gallery, meaning through this partnership, we can help you access over 1 million hours of content, including, for example, the nature and wildlife documentaries, which are just famous for its amazing production value. Moreover, you can find, for example, reenactments and historic documentaries, but our partnership also covers entertainment content and, of course, news. Speaking about digitalization, we are working with the BBC to make more and more of the offline content available for online screening. There is this new platform called VIDA, which already includes 38,000 programs for online screening and continues to grow. In October last year, we started a partnership with NBC News, adding another global news broadcaster and its international and of course US content to our offering. The NBC News archive dates back to the 1950s, and again, looking for the increasing need of digitalization, there are already over 50,000 clips available on our website. Now, the NBC News archive is a largely offline archive, but even for this offline content, the Getty Images website provides a great starting point for your research because there are text files to a lot of content on our website. So these are text files that don't nearly cover all the offering. In light of the sheer size of the BBC and NBC News offline archive, it will always be beneficial if you look for something. Just reach out for us. We request a research, especially for you, especially on the topic that you're looking for. And jumping from our content to our services, with the creation of the broadcast team at Getty Images, we have really made it our mission to partner with you from the beginning of your projects throughout really all the stages of the production life cycle. We are able to provide the biggest benefits to you when we do come on board early. And just to give you an example of this, Getty Images has an in-house team of researchers. They can offer support for projects which require a large amount of footage. So when we have been working with partners on development projects in the past, our researchers have helped our clients through POC, these proof of concept documents that you see here. And after the presentation, I will actually include the link to this document in the chat of our Zoom call so that you can look into some of these. A proof of concept paper is a document that maps out all the content that we do have on our website on any given subject. So if you're looking for a certain subject matter for a documentary series, it will show you, your management, your partners, the wealth and the availability of material, and really will help you convince people of the feasibility of the project. So especially now with the constraints of COVID, I mean, all of us are over it, but we want to continue to support you and to show how we can do this and to bring together all the stuff that I've been telling you about. I want to show you some examples of productions with which we have worked in the past. Now, these are productions that work with significant amounts of footage, in some cases over 60%. Egypt's Unexplained Files started out as an idea from for a documentary series and a proof of concept paper from our researchers. And through the close cooperation of the production and Getty, actually the production managed to create this series on this ancient civilization without ever setting foot in Egypt. So they were working with archive footage dating back to the 1910s, some more modern archive material, combining that with expert interviews and really rounding it all up with amazing creative and trained footage. When you have a chance after this, do have a look at Endless Stories. It is a perfect example of where you can go when you allow the archive and the content discovery to guide your storyline. It is one of my absolute favorite projects, to be honest. And I could talk about this for 10 minutes in itself, but I think I'm running over time already. So let me wrap up with saying this. Really, we are here to partner with you. Getty has this dedicated team of broadcast specialists, as we understand that broadcast production is a really unique business. And we want to enable you to use our archive as flexible and creatively as possible. So we do offer individual deals for broadcasters and for producers to facilitate your production. We have opportunities like production agreements and easy access agreements, which allow you already during your production to download high resolution videos, high resolution images, to work with this in your edit. And once you know what you want to use, actually declare and license the content that you know you will be using in your final edit. We also offer possibilities of per minute pricing to make your budgeting and calculations much easier. and to find cost-effective ways of accessing our archive. So really, this is to say, contact us in the early stages of your projects. Tell us about your production slates. We love to come in and get that conversation started. And with that, I'm saying thank you very much. I will post that link in a moment. And I believe we are now going back to the questions.
Thank you, Stephanie. But actually, if someone wants to buy footage from Getty Images, there is a local office here.
Yes, exactly. We have local offices across several territories. We are present in over 14 countries. We have local colleagues who cover the Israeli market. We also have this special dedicated team of broadcast specialists who are focusing exclusively on the broadcast segment.
Okay. Okay. So I have a few questions that I would like to ask you all in the end, but let's hear Billy first. And after that, we can all talk together. Billy?
כן. Okay, hello, do you see me? Okay. So, I named this presentation as The Long Journey to a Safe Haven because we've been through a rocking journey, and we are not online yet, but we've been through a real revolution here in the last 2 years. We saved the legacy archive of IBA, and it contains it's IPBC Kanya, yes, Israeli Public Broadcast Corporation. It's too long for the locals, so we are Kan. So our legacy archives is the radio that is from 1930. It was the British radio till from 48. It started to be the Israeli, but it's all the collection is here, and up to 1917 in Hebrew and in Arabic. The TV is from 68 to 17 in 3 languages. English is only the news from 91 to 2017, but it's parallel broadcast in Hebrew and Arabic. And recently we got the educational TV. Everything belongs now to the big public broadcaster. So it will all these things are going to be in one platform. I will talk about the digitization that we're doing. Right now, the last 2 years, we're focusing on the digitization of the IBA archive. And this week, we started the educational TV archive. The radio, 45% of it is digitized from days back in IBA, and we're not there yet. Now, the Kan archive today, like the modern archive, is the TV, which we have in Hebrew and Arabic, radio in Hebrew and Arabic, and digital in Hebrew and Arabic. And the digital platform is really creative and very successful in Israel. They produce their own programs, short films, and all what I've shown you, the legacy and the new archive, is going to be already, some of it is on one platform, in-house, like One MAM, Media Asset Management, when you can see the new programs, the legacy programs, everything that we digitize every day goes in that platform. So this was like my biggest dream that I never thought would come true so fast. And the next step, of course, is to make it accessible online for creators. We're not there yet. But right now, like the access is, like this is a mini site because we needed to impress the Treasury Ministry to see that we start putting something from the legacy footage online. So it's really a mini archive, and it speaks to the Israelis more than national, but it's supposed to be like a big site, which will be in English. I hope it will be in Arabic, and of course in Hebrew. And there, most of our footage that we digitize now will be there. The new footage is here in our Kan internet site. It's not in English yet, but it should be. And physically, we're here. This is Shaul, the Israelis knows him. He's responsible for the sales. And in-house creator still has to come here. If we can do online research, we do that. But if it's big projects, they have to come here. But of course, the work is, they don't play cassettes anymore. Like the last 6 months, everything is online. And if something is not digitized, by request, it's being digitized in a special, in special access. 2017 was the last day of the IBA broadcast. And this is how you break TV. I got all these betas for free. I was so happy. We never had enough beta cams. Now we don't need them anymore because we hardly use them. And that was the strategy to save the archive. We already immediately before Kan embarked, when we knew that we're closing, we went on tenders to digitize film, 1-inch, pneumatic tapes, beta cassettes. So the day that Kan embarked, we were already ready to immediately start connecting with the companies. We have 3 companies that digitize the different formats. We had to, this is the abandoned places. We had immediately to change all the workflow that we had in IBA and work with the news. We had to find a new place. We had to move the archive. How do you move like a 50-year-old archive of TV and 81 of an old radio? That was really challenging, and we did it in 6-7 months. I can't believe that we did it. We barcoded everything. Everything was computerized, not the radio, but the TV was computerized, but it wasn't barcoded. And in order to digitize it, you have to barcode it. So this really facilitates our the process when we started digitizing, because when we packed the archive, everything was already barcoded. We had to change all the workflow when we, and one basic thing is that we do all the research today by ourselves. There are no technicians here. So the archivists are the technicians, they do the research, and that's packing the HD archive that we had. We had the analog archive in IBA, and we have the 5 years digital archive. And today we do everything. Like we edit, we research, we edit, we work for the whole news section. Like one big challenge was to get the old metadata programs, and that was not easy to match it and convert it into our new systems. Suddenly, when we were all packing up the TV, I discovered that the radio, because I was responsible only for the TV, is left behind. And since it wasn't digitized 100%, we had really to organize like in 3 weeks and to pack a whole radio from both cities, Tel Aviv and Jerusalem. Everything is packed now in boxes. And if it's not digitized, there is no access to it until we start digitizing it. Okay, it was quite challenging in 6 months to pack an archive. I don't know how we did it, but we did it, and we did it very well. Basically, it was really to stay alert 24/7. We were collapsed at the end of it, but we ended it. And the beginning of 2018, we entered the 19, we entered the new place. We are not situated in the main big building of IBA. That's for the Israelis. We're situated in Jerusalem, but in a different building. And we had 8 teams that packed everything. And when we were packing, we found out that 20,000 items were not cataloged, were not computerized. They were cataloged once upon a time, but when it was all computerized, like in the end of the 70s, they forgot them. So we had a lot of treasures within these 20,000 items that we had to catalog them immediately. Of course, till the last day, we found things thrown everywhere, but everything is with us now. That was the old place, and this is the new place. We have like gas utilities against fire. Everything was packed, clean with barcodes. So it made it very easy when we started digitizing, like 3 months after we entered the place. We already finished digitizing all of our beta cassettes. That's why this week it was 200,000 beta cassettes. And now this week we started doing the educational TV, which is like 35,000 beta cassettes. We will do also their film. We were lucky enough that in the building that we are staying, the 2 companies like hired 2 places. So we are very close. The company that is digitizing our beta cassettes, it's like 300 hours a day downstairs, and also the film and the 1-inch. So we have to send to Tel Aviv to the company that digitized the U-matic. This is the only thing. So we don't have to pack and send a lot of footage that could be lost. And now we are digitized from the film, like half of it, even more than half of the film. Our policy that everything is 30% is uncompressed. If it's documentaries, music shows, news, etc., is compressed, and it's SD format. The film, everything is in DPX. Of course, it's MXF for broadcasting, and like we are producing archives, so we have to preserve, to digitize, and we produce and research every day for the documentaries and for the news, of course. So everything is being done here, but small stuff, everything together. But this is very good that the film, we keep everything uncompressed. Also from the 1-inch, we will uncompress a lot of it. This is how we work now. In these cages, we send every day, not every day, every few days, we send to the companies. People are sitting here, we are in a special program, and write down what sort of a cassette is it, if it's Sony, if it's Maxwell, if it's Ampex, so they know what do they have to bake or not bake, if it's film, if it's double system, if it's magnetic sound, if it's optic sound. Say they are sorting everything. So when the company gets it, they have the basic information. Of course, they have to see that there's no mistake, but it proves itself to be very well. And here for all the stuff that we have to change every 9 months, because the Treasury Ministry agreed that the people that will work on digitization will be from a human resources company. So we have to change them by the law every 9 months. Otherwise, You have to make them dignified human beings and pay them social rights, and nobody wants to do it. This is sad, of course, I'm cynical. So we have very different, they have to learn immediately the different type of programs and cassettes and all our instructions to the companies. Like we have a metadata hub because we are working like with 5 programs now. Eventually, the main media asset management that we have today, Viz, it's this Visa, the Swedish program, everything should be under the Viz. But today we have our metadata, the MAM of our HD old archive, the old analog archive of the TV, the old one of the radio, and of course the batch preparation program. So everyone has to know to work on all programs more or less parallel. So this is all our program. These are our new Viz, and everything is supposed to be here. Like most of the, almost all the metadata of the radio is here, but not everything is with the files, only those that were digitized. At the end of the chain, when we'll be finished the digitizing, we'll migrate the old MAM into the big one. And from that one, that will be the source of migrating to the online website for researchers and etc. But today, all the researchers that come can cut themselves offline and choose. And this is like a very rapid revolution that happened here. But still, I'm not very pleased with the browser, the research browser on the Viz. So we're still using the old analog metadata. And when you locate what you want from the old archive, it says if it's digitized, you just press the digitize and it immediately brings you to this program and you can watch it and edit it, etc. If you're like a foreign researcher, because our daily routine is really all the stress between digitization and the broadcast production, the huge news company that we have here, and of course all the external clients that we have, but we do not have a big team for that, for research. So this is our soft point. I believe that it will change when we'll need less human resources for digitizing. But today, this is our factory. It's really cool. And this is you, the little creators here, sitting very happy. Every day people come here, of course. This is a funny picture from February, last February. And I wrote, wow, it's weird, vinegar syndrome. But like a month after, everyone were going on with this mask, of course. And that is, we come to the end, like today. This is my Shaul is searching for something on the old metadata, and we're talking about here our legacy program. Once he finds it, he just press the and it comes up directly. Yeah, it's a candid camera for TV. It's legendary Israeli artist, one of our nice programs. So I just didn't put here like the, of course we have all the categories, like it's from Actualia, you know, news from different, like if it's magazine stories, documentaries, sports, everything we have, yes. And it's both in Arabic and in Hebrew. And we, of course, scan all the paperwork that we find in the cassettes or in the films. Everything gets the same barcode, it's scanned, and all the, on the MAM, when you meet the file, you can see all the paper with the handwritten remarks of the creator, which is very important for future research of academics. And that's all, more or less. It's a fascinating place. You're all welcome to visit here. And we're going to use Al. Nobody here talked about really Hagit. Someone has to ask about the artificial intelligence. We're going to use it soon because we want to use it, especially for a lot of the radio that is not digitized. It's not cataloged yet. And you can't have human resources today. Nobody can have it. So the artificial intelligence will help us. And we have many creative ideas how to use it with our footage. So next presentation, it will be more to tell. Can't hear you.
Look like a land of fools. But you are a very unique archivist. And someone here from the crowd said that they would love to come, but you're not letting them in.
Corona. So you can come like in Noah's Ark, in couples. Every day a couple of outsiders can come.
Please let us access the art and the views from home. It's about time.
No, the vis you cannot enter, it's protection. You can't enter that, but we have to put it online, and that's the next step. First, you have to have in all the footage digitized, and you have to access it, and that's we're working on that now. This is the next step. There's a team working on it.
It will happen, and then we will never meet again.
I'll send you a picture.
Okay, so thank you all. I would like to ask a few general questions. Since Bill was talking about the digitization process, which is on here in Israel in the last few years, can you tell us a little bit about the digitization process at your archives? What percents are digital? Is everything accessible online? If not, when it will be? Let's start with Sandrine, okay?
At the end of 2020, so INA digitized 96% of its collection. So we should reach 100% this year. So the majority of our content is digitized and online on INA Media Pro.
Sandrine, can anyone get a username on to INA Pro? You need to be.
Excuse me, is anyone can?
If you want to get a user password to INA Pro, anyone can get it, or you need to be a documentary filmer?
Only professionals. Only professionals of audiovisual. If you are a student, for example, you cannot log into our website. So it's just for the professionals looking for footage for their projects.
James, can you tell us about the digitization AP?
Yeah, I mean, I would say that probably around about 90% of our archive is digitized. The only thing is that new formats are always coming along. So, you might have everything as SD or everything as HD, and then that's, you then get 2K and 4K coming along. So really and truthfully, what I would say is that everything is certainly shot listed on the website, searchable on the website, and we can certainly turn around any reel in pretty much any format within 2 weeks. If we have to go back to film to scan to 4K, it's normally a couple of weeks to get that done. The other thing to point out is that we've got archive in so many different locations across the world because we're a sort of global organization. So, we've got loads of stories in our Washington bureau that we've not been able to get to this past year because of COVID. Certainly the discussions over the past 12 months have very much been about trying to get everything up online, as I'm sure most film researchers and archivists and everything else would love for that to happen. So there's no waiting time.
Stephanie? I'm asking you especially because if I want to see a BBC or NBC or ITN footage, I have to pay a huge amount of money just for the screeners for now.
There is actually for all of these partners, as well as generally our partners, there is footage available online on our website. But you are right, these are archives that have millions of hours of content. So it is not possible for us to, unfortunately, to digitalize it all at once. We are working on that. We are working on a project with BBC, which is the VIDA platform. This includes the 38,000 full programs that already have been digitalized, and we continue to add to that platform. So there is constant efforts to make more programs available through online viewing. But having said that, it is just such a large offline archive and such a large project. I mean, Getty has in itself and on the website several hundred thousand online assets. We do have a team of broadcast specialists and product specialists who will support you if you have requests that regard offline content, that will facilitate that kind of research for you and will help you get to what you're looking for. But just in light of the volume, unfortunately, it has not been possible to put everything online yet.
אוקיי, אם מישהו בבית או בקהל רוצה לשאול שאלות, אז תכינו אותם, אנחנו תכף נגיע לזה. ואפשר לשאול בצ'אט כמובן. Another question that I would like to know, Billy actually mentioned it in her presentation, is how do you enrich the metadata? Do you use crowdsourcing? Do you use information from your clients, or do you ever deal with that? As a researcher, I know that one of the most problem is that the metadata is especially from earlier years is sometimes awful. There are no names. There's no one actually. In Israel, you can find in the archive a film that was cataloged by the one word like sport, or even not even soccer or football or something, just sport.
Well, we do for the online clips. I mean, there is definitely metadata in parts provided by our contributors, by our partners. We do double check and we do try to constantly improve this metadata, but we have contributor teams who are working especially with our contributors to make sure that this data is as good as possible. With the offline archives, the metadata obviously comes from these archives. Now, as you would with some of the more data contents, the data is as good as it has been entered back then. But generally speaking, I would say that the metadata we have from the online and offline archive is really well sorted and continuously updated.
James, are you dealing with the metadata? Or because AP is usually very, very detailed, actually.
Well, as a kind of news source, we have to be really strict around the sort of facts that we report, and that so really most of the stuff that is produced by ourselves is already fully shortlisted, keyworded before it even reaches the archive. Certainly over the last few years, where there has been a debate is around, say, the British Movie Tone collection, and you know, sort of certain words having a different meaning in 2021 than they would have done in the 1950s, you know, around sort of race relations and things like that. And what we found is that the best thing that we can do in that respect is to keep the metadata as was at the time, and to put a disclaimer that, you know, the language used here may not be appropriate for the sort of modern era. because, you know, archives certainly have a responsibility, I think, to maintain the quality of the information from the day it was first captured, whilst at the same time helping modern researchers to actually find that material for their own projects.
Sandrine, are you dealing with the metadata issue as well?
Yes, so all our programs includes metadatas, and the metadatas are updated by our researchers because we've got more than 100 researchers at INA. So we are trying to catalog all our collections. We have some work to do for our radio content in order to enrich the metadatas. So it is a daily work. So because we have millions of documentary notes of metadatas, so it is a very huge work to do.
I will explain the audience just for a second. אם החומרים, אם המטadata חסר, אם מידע שלא קיים בעצם כשמכניסים סרט למערכת הדיגיטלית, הוא לא יהיה קיים יותר, ואנחנו לא נוכל לשלוף אותו, לא נוכל למצוא אותו. וזה בעצם לב הבעיה שהארכיונאים מתמודדים איתה. איך מקטלגים את הדברים בצורה כזאת שנוכל לשלוף אותם גם 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 שנה יותר מאוחר. There is a question here by Daniel Henry that asked the panelists to comment on the balance between license use and fair use, fair dealing in documentaries, which I would guess that Daniel is not Israeli, but wrong. In Israel, the fair use is not that common for now. James, do you have something to say about that?
Well, to be honest with you, I always feel that it's a tricky question for a professional archive to answer, simply because you come to a professional archive to, you know, to have the safety of getting a license agreement in place from an organization that exerts the controls or owns the copyright to the footage. So something like fair use, I guess, over the years or over recent years, I would say in the UK has been slightly abused because it can be a very easy way of sort of, you know, relinquishing all need for getting a license in place because you couldn't find a copyright holder. I guess fair use is a very important part of, say, news and news use and critique and the like. But I would say that the best person to ask about fair use is your production lawyer rather than a professional archive.
בילי, יש לך משהו לומר בנושא הזה?
Well, fair use, we give a lot. We tend to give a lot, being a public broadcast to the news channels and all the morning shows and the news broadcast. If it's not like a magazine story of it. So most of these programs are getting for free, fair use, every day. So this is fair, I think, when you're talking about a public archive, and so we let it because it's current affairs, but not when it's documentaries and other genres. But that's because we're also a broadcast, like we're a producer broadcast. We're very different from Getty and from AP. And but still, it's always like a question in there. But in daily routine, we give fair use every day to the Israeli broadcasters, of course, when it's news.
Okay, thank you. Someone here? Yeah. Just a second. There's a question from the audience, so we need the microphone. Okay, so you can.
Two questions.
For James.
Two questions for James. One, if there is a way to know about pieces that other people already use, other documentaries, for example, already took it. If there is a way to find the most quotes or things like that. And the second is regarding AI, artificial intelligence. If you're doing anything that I could find, let's say I'm searching for the Israeli machine guns Uzi, and I wanted to find which footage include this submachine, this machine gun. So I want to say to the search, not for only for keywords, but what I can see in the footage. So and I don't need to see the whole movie to find exactly the few seconds that I need.
Sorry, I didn't catch part of the first question. Was it something about trying to find out where footage from a previous documentary had come from? Was that how I gathered it?
Used.
Okay, so if you find footage in a documentary that you'd like to use in your own documentary, how do we track that back?
No, I'm asking about if there is a way to know the popularities of footage that already was used, like there was original, but already used in other films in the past. So I know that I could search for the best, or I know that is so popular, it would be easy to search in.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's almost impossible for AP to be able to track that, because if you imagine, we've got our primary business is selling news feeds to news organizations around the world who may also make documentaries. So that's going through a different system than the one that I work with. So we just don't have the ability to truly know how many times a particular shot has been used and in what context. As far as the Uzi story is concerned, or the Uzi question is concerned, as a news organization, we're looking for sort of the key protagonists in any given story, or the key events and the dates, and that kind of information. We don't have a cataloging team that necessarily will be able to identify a particular gun or vehicle or aeroplane necessarily. So we do get asked sometimes about specific things like that, but we don't always have that information, unfortunately.
Okay, another question, and that will be the last one because we're running late.
I have a question for Stephanie, just about the process and the turnaround for the offline and unlisted material from the BBC. What is the sort of process that you have to go through? If you do find something in the text files, and if you have subjects, keywords that I want you to find.
So with the BBC and the NBC News Archive, it is actually a rather similar process. The research that you can do has kind of 3 entry points. You can start with the text files that we have on our website. You have to be logged in to read the text files. So you just create your Getty Images account, which of course is free of charge. You log in, you search for the offline videos, and you read through the text files. That is the one kind of source or entry point to the offline archive. If you do find something online, you can send us that link. So if you find something on YouTube, for example, that is a BBC clip, you can send us that link. Alternatively, contact your Getty representative, contact some of us at the broadcast team, and let us know about the project that you're working on. Let us know what you are looking for. So similarly, as James just explained for the AP archive, the BBC archive also kind of has its metadata, which includes keywords, events, dates, the people involved in that thing. When it's on the entertainment side, obviously we can look for certain shows, for certain artists. It's with something that is going to be widely covered. It's always good to provide as much information as possible. So say, for example, you're looking for something involving the British royal family, obviously good to provide a lot of details in addition, because if you just look for the British royal family, there will be hours and hours and hours of content. You will then receive a text document. So you will receive a document that includes all the programs that are found for these keywords that you have provided to us. Now, this is the first stage, the research stage, as we call it. Second stage is that we order the previews for you. If something is already digitalized and on the Reader platform, you can watch the full program there. All you need is to contact one of us for a login, which we will organize for you. That is literally a half-day process, and you will have your login details. The preview orders itself, we say as standard 2 to 3 working days. Of course, it depends a little bit on how big your order is. With this preview order, you will then get a link to the BBC preview portal, where you have the full program available for online screening. You can download a low resolution version for your edit. And once you do know what you actually want to use, what is going to be in your final edit, through that portal, you can clip up the segments that you want to order. There will be a final rights check to make sure that the copyrights are with the BBC, to make sure if there is any additional rights clearances that might be needed, and if the BBC approves that usage that you propose for this specific selection. And once everything is approved, you are going to get that master delivery, usually within 4 to 5 days. There is times when it works much quicker. There is also times when there is film involved, for example, and the transfer needs to be done, when we need to calculate a bit more time for that. I hope that does answer that question.
Thank you, Stephanie, and thank you all. We have to end now. There's another event just after us. That was very interesting and too short. Can continue for another hour. But thank you very much. We'll be in touch. Bye.
Thank you very much, Hagit.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Have a nice weekend.
Bye.